Hello, and welcome to another episode where we are playing Foundation, and you'll notice that we are doing things a little bit differently this episode. We've gone for a slightly different style. We have got a time-lapse for this episode, and the reason I've done this is because there is no kind of one major project that we needed to sort out next in the game imminently. Really what we needed was a fair number of smaller things, I suppose, to support our kind of growing population. You'll see in this episode, I don't think we crack 700 population, but we are well into the 600s, and there are just quite a few things that we tend to get kind of shortages notifications for at 600, and I think if I had a tip about Foundation, what I've noticed is that you have to keep on building certain items or certain buildings as your population grows, which maybe sounds obvious once you say it, because obviously if you have more people, then they need more things. But yeah, and this is basically related to the needs of your serfs, commoners and citizens. So some of the things they need, like goods, rustic food, refined food, various things along those lines. You need to kind of increase your production as you go along. And so we hadn't kind of increased our production of some of these things in a while. I had built a few more berry huts and stuff as we'd gone through the game, and a few more fishing huts and stuff, I suppose. But we hadn't really spent a lot of time in it in some time. And so yeah, I thought this would be a good episode to approach that, and I guess share a little bit about what I've learned from playing the game over these past few episodes. This is my kind of first full playthrough of the game. I did practice, or I played the game for about a day before I ever made a video on it, and I had certainly watched a lot of other people's videos on playing the game, so wasn't a total novice. But yeah, you really do learn a lot, I guess, by doing it yourself. And yeah, one of the key things we're going to do in this episode, which you can see is happening right now on the screen, is building a permanent lumber area. So right at the end of last episode, I built out quite a few new services for this new half of the map that we're building on, and I've decided to nickname it the New Town. So we're going to have the Old Town and the New Town. That's just to make it clear about which area I'm talking about at any point, and I think it's something that is used to happen in real life. So I know in Edinburgh there's a new town and an old town, and I feel like it happens in quite a few other cities as well. So I thought that could be a fun little naming convention that we use. But yeah, so we're building over in the new town for pretty much all of this episode, I think, apart from maybe a couple of small things. And we, at the end of last episode, built a tavern with a service counter and a public lounge, and also a church, and also a manor house. And it just absolutely tanked our wood and planks supply. We'd had kind of way too many for ages, and then went ahead and built those 3 things, which were all necessary for the side of the map. And yeah, really a lot of them kind of got a bit stuck and paused because we didn't have a steady supply of wood and planks coming through. We did have some lumber areas and some sawmills, but clearly it wasn't enough to keep up, I suppose. And so I did something which I've been thinking about doing for a long time, which is to build what I guess I'm kind of calling this permanent lumber area. And yeah, that is what we're working on, where I've kind of shaded in the blue. It's all around this rock, this mining area. I know some of the lumber buildings are a bit pollutive, so I thought it kind of made sense to put it near some polluted buildings. And also I kind of wanted to use it so that the trees could cover up the mining area a little bit, I suppose. Around the front I've made it a planting area so that hopefully trees will be planted there and you won't be able to see the mining area from the town too much. Not that it really matters if you can see it, but on the other side of the map where we built our mining area kind of almost ended up being part of the town centre, and I guess it just feels a little bit unrealistic for it to be that way. So I thought for this side of the map it could be a little bit more hidden away, and that would look quite nice. And yeah, this permanent lumber area is basically just, I built out loads of lumber, wood cutting buildings essentially, and also had a big warehouse to store all that wood that's being cut. I built a couple of extra sawmills. I also moved over a couple of the old sawmills to this area, and I also built 3 forester camps. I built them slowly because originally I think I was too optimistic and I just built 1 forester camp, and then I had like, I don't know, there must be 12 lumberjacks, like people cutting down trees, and then there was just like 1 little forester guy trying to run around after them and plant new trees, and he could not keep up, so we ended up with 3 in total, which seemed to be about the right number for that. And yeah, so this was something that I've been planning for a long time, and yeah, decided to build it over in this corner a little bit out of the way, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. There's so many people employed there, so we did have to build out the housing for it quite a lot as well. And the idea, I guess, is that this lumber area will never move. They're just constantly replanting trees and cutting them down, so we will have a steady supply of wooden planks, hopefully basically for the rest of the game, as long as this city lasts. And then obviously when we are kind of moving into a new area and we want to cut down some trees, I will have a couple of like roaming lumber areas that will kind of just move around the map as we move around the map, but this one will always stay where it is. And yeah, really enjoyed building that. And so the second thing, which we're just about to move on to, is a church. This is again just like covering one of the shortages that I noticed that was coming up during this episode. For the first time in a while, we were having a service shortage. We hadn't had one of those in a while, and I'd literally just built a church at the end of last episode, but I don't know, man, our population went up so much, I guess it just wasn't big enough. So I built this absolutely massive church, and it was so big, I think I was able to employ 3 priests there, which I suppose kind of feels unrealistic in some respects. I don't know if you ever have 3 priests in a church, maybe, I don't know. And I think it takes like 195 attendees or something, so this should definitely do this side of the map for a little while. I mean, I'm sure we will need to basically build another church as soon as we move into a new area, but yeah, that was something that we were in need of again. So yeah, just kind of keeping up with needs there. And then another thing that I wanted to build out, which is on screen currently, is this dairy expansion. We've had problems with cheese pretty much throughout the game. We are importing a lot of cheese. I already have so many cheese fields. I think I have like 5 cheese fields, but it's just never enough. The people need so much cheese. And so I'd been thinking in my head that I should definitely get another dairy area together, kind of as soon as I found the time. And so that's what I was doing here, and I really like how it blended into the village. The old dairy area is a little bit messy because I kept on having to expand it, whereas this one I tried to really keep on top of the detailing as I was doing it. So yeah, making sure I was building the fences around it and making sure all the buildings were like placed pretty carefully so they looked organic, I suppose. And I was really happy with how it turned out. I kind of didn't quite finish it. I've left space for maybe 1 more dairy field over in this place, or maybe even 2 more dairy fields. And that was kind of just because I feel like building them slowly kind of like helps with the balance of things, although to be honest we always need so much cheese that I probably don't need to bother building it slowly. But yeah, I think we'll probably finish those couple of dairy fields off in the next episode, but I did want to get this dairy area going over this side of the map, which is good. And so yeah, this was just part of the kind of generic expansion that I've realized I guess needs to happen. Like every time you're adding like 50 or 100 population, it's like, cool, now I need another dairy field, I need another wheat field, I need another, I don't know, fishing, like, I don't know, what do you call that, a fishing pier? Another like berry foraging hut. Just all of those things really need to be kept on top of, as well as the services. So yeah, which also leads on nicely to the next thing I built, which was this new town market just next to the church. I thought that kind of made sense. I feel like in a lot of older towns, at least in the UK, you quite often have like a church and a market near each other. They were just sort of like 2 essential places, I guess, back in the day. And yeah, I was you'll notice like the building is kind of red, like I've placed the items wrong. So I originally wanted it to be quite big and have sort of 2 city market areas and then 1 resource depot, and I just couldn't quite get it to let me build it that way for some reason, and so I had to delete one of the city market buildings and just have one and then a resource depot next to it, which was still big enough to sell everything that I wanted to sell here, so it didn't really matter too much. Like, it was just an aesthetic thing, I suppose, or would have been able to like sell slightly more products here. I think it just means we'll need to build another market sooner rather than later, but yeah, I was really happy with how this one turned out. So far in like villages and stuff, we'd only really had like market stalls, and then we just had our one city market so far on the kind of high density island that we've built out. But I really liked how this looked in the town, and especially like it's quite near a lot of the houses, so it hopefully should be pretty efficient for people to get there. And I've really come around to this idea that each of the markets should like have its own colour. So I made the city market on the high density island all red, I think, and I made this one all blue. It takes ages for the tents to actually be built out on this one, because another shortage issue that we're having is not enough cloth. I need to grow more wool and turn it into cloth, and also turn it into clothes. So I'm sure in an episode, maybe next episode or the episode afterwards, I'm going to need to build another sheep farm as well, and I've got a spot kind of earmarked for it, so I think that should be okay. But yeah, I wanted to basically make this market all blue, and so it looked very nice, whereas the other smaller village markets that like don't have a building are a bit more hodgepodge in terms of how the tents look. But I think it does look better when you kind of build out like each of the markets in a different colour. And I was also just adding a couple of common wares places there to try and fix a bit of a goods shortage as well, which seems to be ongoing. And yeah, again, we had just like rustic food, so I had to build some fishing piers and some berry gathering huts. And then I just wanted to detail up a few things over the side of the map. So this hop farm that we've had for ages, put a nice little fence around it, and just generally tried to like make that side of the map look well put together, I suppose. But yeah, we're kind of wrapping up this video now. Let me know if you enjoyed this style of video with the time-lapse and the voice over or not. I'm open to feedback on that. I kind of thought it made sense for this episode. I think next episode will probably be more back to the normal style of videos where we're doing like 1 or 2 bigger builds, and I'll be playing along live with it. But I thought for the tasks that we had for this one that this made sense. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed watching and listening to this video and seeing how Boscoverde is evolving. I'm certainly really enjoying playing it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.